This actually cuts countertops. If you want to learn why and the process of how to make countertops, keep on watching. Let's get started.
I'm an individual that loves knowing how things are made, especially the things that I take for granted every single day, and countertops is one of them. The most popular types of countertops in the United States right now are quartz, and I wanted to see personally how they were made. Luckily for me, I knew someone in the countertop industry because of my work in Homer Models, and that's where Caesarstone comes into play. But first things first, safety check. We do obviously have to make sure that we have proper eye protection, ear protection, mask protection, as well as some very stylish steel toe protection as well. Obviously they don't want any toes crunched because there are very large heavy objects around, so better safe than sorry. Once we actually step foot in the manufacturing facility, the first thing you see are these massive machines that is filtering all the water that is used during the grinding and smoothing process, which we'll get to at the tail end of the video. Thousands of tons of material come through these doors into the facility where it's stored here before it gets to the line. These raw materials can be coming from all over the world, whether it's Turkey, Israel, or even local vendors as well. I met up with one of the production managers who handles all the raw material that comes into the facility. He explained to me that they go through over 200 tons of silica and powder every single day. That is a lot of material, and in order to produce such amazing slabs on a very consistent basis, it takes a very efficient way to get this material into the machines, and that's where this lifting mechanism along with this death triangle come into play. It punches these sacks immediately, and as you can see here, 1 ton worth of this material can be fed into the machine within seconds. There are massive air filtration systems that are built into this area because you certainly don't want to be breathing any of this stuff in, which is also why we're wearing masks. Once the material has been poured in, it goes on the conveyor belt of its life, either going into the feeding process or these 200-ton silos. Now that all of our dry goods are fed into the silos, we can move on to large vats of resin. I walked up numerous flights of stairs to get to the very top where they actually start mixing all the powders and the pigments in with the resin. These large mixing machines are obviously enclosed, so I can't see the actual mixing process, but it all lands on this conveyor belt, which then feeds into this funnel system. The funnel system collects the material and then is poured evenly across this flat surface. This machine is pushing out the material in a consistent fashion, as well as applying small amounts of coloring at different sections to provide veining. Once this application is complete, the table frame rises, which allows the resin, silica, and quartz mixture to be pushed to the next section. Now, Caesarstone was extremely gracious for all the access that I was allowed. However, there were a few steps that I couldn't actually show you because it was so proprietary, and trust me, I really did want to show you these processes. However, once we got through this specific section, we move on to the compactor.
So that machine has 25,000 metric tons coming down on it. They're compressing all that material to make one fluid slab before it starts curing. So there is a lot of weight going down on that material that we saw in large sandbag, basically. And now we get to the next step.
As the slab continues on our conveyor belt, it moves on to a cutting station, which is just there to cut the excess paper off. Now this cutting station only cuts 2 sides of the slab, then the conveyor belt moves the slab to another section, which cuts the 2 remaining sides in a quick, orderly fashion as it moves on to the oven. And this is no ordinary oven. Check out this guy. These massive ovens are heated up to approximately 175 to 195 degrees Fahrenheit. Each slab is cooked between 35 to 45 minutes, and the slabs themselves actually need heat to start the reaction of the hardening process. After each slab is fully cured, it's then brought onto another conveyor belt and brought over in a vertical format right here. Once vertical, it's now much easier to pick up and maneuver with a forklift and bring it over to the next section. Now this is obviously not the color of the slab. This is called a paper slab because the paper is still on both sides of the slab. In theory, you can think of it as a heavy-duty baking sheet so nothing sticks to the pan, or in this case, the machines. The day I was here, they didn't have any paper slabs going through the sanding process, but they did have some rework slabs, which is nearly the same exact process. Each slab is scanned and then lifted easily with this job arm and flips upside down, so it starts the grinding and cutting process on the back side first. Based upon the QC manager at the very end of this manufacturing process, they like to see less than 20% have to come back into this process. And that means no slab goes out to the customer unless it's absolutely perfect. And that's quite impressive because the vast majority of these defects are just slight defects that are on the edge or the back side of the slab, which the client wouldn't see in any case. The first step of this conveyor belt process is to line up the slab perfectly and cut them to exact measurements. They cut them on two sides at once, and then as it goes down the line, it cuts them on the other two sides.
Obviously you see that saw right there and that saw right there, and we'd be cutting them perfectly to the exact size that you need if they hadn't done it already.
Now that the slabs are cut to the appropriate size, we're now off to the first grinding and cutting station. These machines are massive, and our slabs go from 26 millimeters all the way down to 20 millimeters just from the grinding and cutting process. The first grinding process utilizes these massive diamond wheels, and there's 8 of these discs in each head, and there's 10 heads per machine, so that means there's 80 grinding discs in this one machine. But luckily for Caesarstone, these things can last a long time since they can handle 50 to 60,000 slabs until they have to be replaced. As we move away from the first grinding section, we get to the flipping table, and that's exactly what it sounds like because the slab comes in, it holds onto the slab, flips it 180 degrees, and it goes through the same grinding process on the opposite side. However, before they do the second side, they do check for thickness just to make sure that the first pass was taking off the appropriate amount. After the slabs get through the second grinding section, it gets sent directly to the polisher, and the polisher has multiple steps. The polisher obviously starts with the most aggressive pads, which are metal based and also have a diamond flake in it, and they start with 80 grit and then go up to 100, 120, and eventually 140. Then they switch over to resin base pads, which also have diamond flake in it, and they go from 220 to 320 to 400, 500, 600, and eventually 800 grit. If you're going for a honed look or rugged concrete, they break out these brushes, which actually brush the surface, which makes that honed look. The final pad application utilizes these magnetite stones, and it's actually a salt base versus a diamond base to have that perfect buttery smooth texture in the end. As we move forward in order to get to the QC process, the slabs have to be perfectly dry and cleaned, which is where this room shines, and once pristine, it moves to the QC process. The QC process is obviously very important for a number of reasons. Number one being they determine the correct shade and tolerance for that slab, make sure that they're checking for defects, and in theory they want to try and grade one slab every 2 minutes, which means that I'm slowing them down. One of the most important things they do here is they provide every single slab with its own individual serial number, which can be tracked at every single point, even if it's on a job site. And let's say, for example, you all of a sudden want a kitchen island that matches your countertops. Well, as long as you have that serial number, you can get that perfect match quickly and easily. As you can see, the QC process is quite efficient, and as it's rolling out of the room, it immediately gets a protective layer right on top of the surface. Once this plastic protective layer is applied, it's then transferred from the table to this large mechanical arm that has suction cups and positions it perfectly in stacks. Once in stacks, we're ready to ship out, but how do you ship out 2,000-pound countertops? Well, making sure that you have extremely heavy-duty pallets. That's where these 4x4 posts and heavy-duty steel brackets come into play because they manufacture 40 to 50 of these pallets every single day. Once assembled, it's rolled off and we're ready to outfit this pallet with 24,000 pounds of Caesarstone countertops. Now these countertops come in 2 different thicknesses, 30 millimeters or 20 millimeters, so they can stack a total of 12 20 millimeters in one pallet or 8 30 millimeters. Once in the pallet, it's through bolted at the top, and there's large protective shims applied on every single side of the posts. Each pallet is then picked up and positioned in front of the loading dock, and this extremely long, powerful arm picks each one of these crates up on the end and almost effortlessly places it in a container in order for it to ship out to its next destination. And that's the manufacturing process in a nutshell. However, that's not the end of this video because I want to see what's next for these countertops.
Whew, okay. Long day, but fun day. I love seeing how something's made. I take it for granted every single day going into my kitchen and seeing how that countertop is physically made. But lo and behold, I saw the entire process today and it's quite entertaining. I love it. I love learning. I love experiencing new opportunities that I thought I would never be able to do until I do this. So it's amazing. Now it's off to the showroom in North Carolina, which is a little bit further away. It's about 4-hour drive, so we have a little bit of driving to do before then. So let's get to our hotel, we'll relax, and then we can go on.
Alrighty, everything turned out all right?
Amazing.
That's what's up.
Yep, thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Have a great rest of the day.
You have a good one.
On to the next endeavor. Showroom, here we come.
As we begin our 4-hour journey, I do quickly realize I need something to eat, so we do stop off somewhere. But other than that, we head straight to Charlotte, North Carolina to see the final finished product in all its glory. It really was amazing to take a moment and actually appreciate the finished product, especially knowing about how much effort it took just to get to this point. Caesarstone was kind enough to walk me around the entire showroom, showing me all the colors and the benefits of a quartz countertop. Whether it's the fact that it's non-porous, super easy to clean, very hygienic, scratch resistant, very durable, and stain resistant as well. That's a number of items, plus they have over 50 colors to choose from in their quartz lineup, and if you take into consideration their quartz, porcelain, and natural stone, they have over 100 SKUs available. And if you're wondering to yourself what's the benefits of a porcelain countertop, you can have induction heating. That means you can have the heating elements built into the countertop and it won't damage the countertop whatsoever. I personally saw a live demonstration of this at the Kitchen and Bath Show, which was quite impressive, especially if you like this look. The real question is, how do I get these amazing countertops for myself? Well, that's where the container delivery comes into play, because those containers that are shipping from the manufacturer then get delivered to distributors like this and sorted accordingly. After you pick the specific color and style that you want, they then get positioned onto an A-frame on a truck like this, ratcheted down extremely tightly, and then delivered to your countertop installer. And if you're interested in watching the entire process of how a countertop is perfectly cut and installed, along with an entire kitchen remodel, I'll make sure and leave those links in the description box below. This was a full gut job and makeover, so I'm really proud with how this entire kitchen turned out. Thanks in part to Caesarstone because they provided all the countertop material for this project. But getting back to the Caesarstone showroom, I am truly grateful for this amazing opportunity that Caesarstone provided me to see the entire process from start to finish on how a quartz countertop is made. Please let me know in the comment section what you think about this type of collaboration. If you want to see more like it, it would be a pleasure to do because I truly love knowing how things are made. And that's what I call one beautiful, sexy beast. Oh yeah,